Pressure on both men had grown after an economic crisis led to severe shortages of essential items like food and fuel. Police in Japan have admitted security flaws after former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe was assassinated. The 67-year-old died after he was shot while making a campaign speech. The gunman had used a handmade weapon. LBC weather, staying dry overnight for England and Wales. Cloudier across Northern Ireland and Scotland with some rain, a low of 10 Celsius. Tomorrow, rain in the far north clearing, then mostly dry, sunny and very warm elsewhere. A high of 29 degrees.
This is LBC.
First up in today's tour, a modern masterpiece. The new Italian stack from Mcdonald's. A carefully crafted burger made with 2 delicious beef patties, mozzarella and a splash of rich tomato sauce. An edible work of art. And over here in the collection, the exquisite crispy chicken Italiano. Delectable crispy chicken breast paired beautifully with a basil pesto-style sauce. Perfection.
Holiday from home with the McDonald's summer menu. Available until the 26th of July. From 11 a.m, participating restaurants subject to availability.
Car owners, do you want the good news or the good news? Well, the good news is that Go Compare have now refunded over £2.5 million under their free excess cover deal. The other good news is that Go Compare now offer a deal like that on home insurance. So whether you're after insurance or insurance, it's nothing but good news from Go Compare. Excess refunded after claim settled. Exclusions and T's and C's apply.
Fever Tree Rhubarb and Raspberry Tonic Water. Made with sweet hand-picked English rhubarb, balanced with juicy raspberries that grow in the Scottish valleys. So, if 3/4 of your G&T is a Fever Tree tonic, I'd be tempted to call it a T&G. Fever Tree Rhubarb and Raspberry Tonic Water. Mix with the best. Delicious.
In the UK, 1.4 million households use 100% renewable electricity from Shell.
And that's just the beginning. Shell experts are working on a wind project that could power 6 million homes.
And because 1 in 5 new cars in the UK plug in,
Shell aims to have 100,000 public charge points nationwide by the end of the decade.
The UK is ready for cleaner energy. To be part of the change, search Shell. Shell Energy's renewable electricity is supplied by the National Grid and certified by Regos. Visit shellenergy.co.uk for details. Electric vehicle data source by SMMT.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Listen to him. He knows everything.
0345 6060 973. Hey, Paulie Walnuts died. Oh, well. Everybody goes in the end. It was... do I have that on tape? No, I don't. I haven't got any of his stuff. You know me, I never complain. That's why I say that. Who? Paulie Walnuts, out of The Sopranos.
Absolutely.
0345 6060 973. People were putting clips on on Twitter of one of my favourite episodes of The Sopranos, which was the Paulie Walnuts episode. It was, I think it's called The Pine Barrens, something like that. And he, so great. He starts in like a beauty salon, getting his nails done. Now, if you've never seen The Sopranos, this guy is a mobster and a killer and really scary. But he's also really sharp, and he's getting his nails done. And the person who's doing it says, "Well, do you want?" I might not have this 100% right, but it's something of the order of, "Do you want like a gloss finish or matte?" And he looks at them and thinks, I think I'll go with a matte today. And so that's how he starts, looking absolutely perfect. And then by the end of it, he's a complete mess, having lost all of his dignity. It's just priceless. If you haven't seen The Sopranos, then, stake out a couple of months and get into it. And you can thank me later. No, wait. I've changed my mind. You can thank me now.
Thank you.
Paul says, I remember a year or so ago when Bodge was defying political gravity and riding high in the polls. One of his fans called your show and started to gloat about how he was invincible and would be Prime Minister for life. You told him that everyone seems invincible right until the moment that they aren't. He didn't believe it. But, of course, you were right, and I think this should henceforth be known as Abbot's Law. Okay, then. Yeah. Well, I've spoken to so many Bodger fans over the years, and none of them or me really could have predicted this. I mean, there is a certain tragedy about it, a personal tragedy for him, because he has been wanting this his entire life. And the moment he gets it, he finds that the qualities that propelled him to the top job are those that make him inapt at doing that job. They virtually exclude him from the position. I mean, being London mayor is different, because you can just do your act. And you don't really have any not responsibilities. Not really. I mean, not if you're Bodge. You can just, just bulldoze your way through those and completely ignore them. The job is basically, all of that, the stuff that he's really good at. But when you're PM, big difference, huge. And it was just one thing after the next. I mean, books are going to be written about this, don't you worry. First it was COVID, and then it was all of the lies that started catching up with him and his behaviour that we found out about, that he must be furious, that not that he let himself go, that he, abused our trust, but that we found out about it. That's the part that he'll be annoyed about. And he'll be flailing around looking for somebody to blame other than himself. No such person exists. Luton. Hello, John.
Well, hello. Hi.
John.
Just a couple of quick points I sent to a researcher. Boris Johnson, if he's still around, what stops him from doing something crazy like invading, sending troops into Ukraine and attacking Russians? What stops him from doing that? To go out with a bang?
Literally a bang.
Yeah. I genuinely worry about his mental capacity in this situation, because he's got nothing to lose, as far as I know.
Yeah, I don't think that there's anything wrong with his mental capacity, other than he's completely untrustworthy and totally self-serving.
Exactly, and we're doing something really stupid like that, turning a crisis into the Third World War. I just wouldn't put him past him.
Yeah, but how would it benefit him having a Third World War?
Well, he gets newspapers. He gets publicity.
He would get publicity.
I don't. Well, yeah. The other thing I was going to mention was, I absolutely riled when I saw Rishi Sunak go with this wretched video. I'm thinking like, are the Conservative Party so stupid to not realise that people don't like people who are plotting, who've actually done the video before they resigned? I mean, it's absolutely. It's a guy. The guy was part of the scheme. I didn't ever hear him, raising any complaints. The other thing is, he's probably the worst person to come on and say, I really feel for you in this crisis with a $30 billion wife knocking around. I mean, I've lost my job, mate. I lost my job 5 months ago, and I'm going up to universal credit for the first time in my life. And I just cannot imagine a Prime Minister showing any empathy. I mean, it's just not credible. I think if Jeremy Hunt was put forward, he's the only one with a modicum of empathy, or should we say emotional intelligence.
He also has the benefit of not having been part of this regime, so he doesn't have the stench of it on him. He should be the one that the Labour Party are most concerned about, because he seems, on the surface, to be the most reasonable. However, if you look at his voting record, it is indistinguishable from all of the rest of them.
I think you're right, and I think, to be honest, I'm going to join the Labour Party the first time in my life, and I do hope that Labour really present themselves well, because they should storm the next election realistically.
Well,
if they get their act together.
Yeah, if that's a massive if there, John. I'm wondering how it is they are going to snatch a defeat from the jaws of victory, because that is how the Labour Party operate. That's their thing. failing in front of an open goal.
With an open goal, can I say, surely. I mean, as James O'Brien quite rightly said, the Daily Mail attack on the leader was appalling, and I'm sure the British people are going to see through that. I would definitely vote for him as PM at the moment, but we just wait and see. But my gosh, Rishi Sunak! I mean, I nearly threw up when I saw his video. It was like, you know, the guy in the Matrix where he goes, "Would you like the green, the red, or the blue?" I'm thinking like, no, I don't want your pills at all. Show off.
Oh, I'll tell you what, John. I'm going to take them both. See what happens.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. Simon says, please do not go around in circles on Brexit. The decision was made. Both sides lied. Respect the vote. Keir has. I don't respect the vote because the vote was based on lies. How can you respect a vote that was based on lies? They told you that it was one thing. You voted for that thing, but they were lying about that. It wasn't the thing that you voted for at all. How can you respect that? I just can't get it in my head how people say, oh, well, we should all move on now. The situation is this. We're in a bus. The driver is operating with a faulty map. We reach the fork in the road and we consult this map that has no relation to the road that we're looking at, and we decide, should we take the left one or the right road? The left road or the right one? Pick, according to the map. And about 40% of the people on the bus said, well, let's go left, because based on this map, that looks like the best way to go. But it turns out the map isn't correct. And the route that we took is taking us towards a cliff. But because we decided on the road, even though it was based on a faulty map, we must continue on because the passengers have decided. And people are saying, you should respect it and move on. No! The people who are saying you should respect it and move on are those that voted for Brexit. They want, because it's been a failure by any measure, I mean, we've got an entire person whose job it is to come up with a benefit of Brexit, and he doesn't know anything.
I don't know anything.
Not a thing. He knows so little that he's actually farmed out his job to the public. Ask them if they can think of anything that's good. And they can't think of anything either. So all of those people are saying, oh, we should move on now. We don't want to talk about it anymore. It's done. But it's not done. If they could think of a good thing about it, they would be talking about it 24 hours a day. They would be doing the I told you so all day long. But they can't. They can't think of a single thing. So instead of no, it's, oh, well, that's decided and we should move on and stop talking about it. Yeah, right. Good luck with that. If we're going to suffer because of the stupid decision that has been made by a minority of the people in this country, then what, we're going to just suffer in silence? Because that would be the British way? Stiff upper lip? Please. James texts, just having a read through the Conservative leadership candidates, a majority of them are children of economic migrants or refugees. They all say how much this country has given them and are grateful for the opportunities afforded to them, and then they support shipping asylum seekers off to Rwanda. Yeah. Yes, just remember that. Because they all do. None of them have spoken up against it. In fact, I don't recall any of them saying anything against the direction of travel of this country under this regime for the last 2 and a bit years. None of them. And yet they're all trying to make out like they were unwilling travellers. Yeah, right. They were the ticket inspectors. Austin texts, Keir Starmer's best line was, is this the first time in history that the sinking ships are deserting the rat? Yeah, that was a good line too. He must have got a comedian on board. Getting some good digs in there, Sir Keir. Sue emails, for all Fishy Sunak's chic, glossy, no expenses spared campaign video, all I can think about was that curious incident in the petrol station when he borrowed somebody else's car to make him look like an average Joe and then went and gave the game away by not being able to use his debit card. Yeah, and what is an shop? Yeah. There's a video going around of him. He's much younger in this video, and I don't know what it was a part of, but he basically tells us who he is. And he said, I've got a lot of aristocratic friends and a lot of upper middle class friends and a lot of working class friends. Well, not working class. Yep. That's fishy for you. Fishy by name, fishy by nature. Still looks great in a hoodie, though. But only if it's cashmere. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC.
Hey, Harry.
Hello, mate.
What are your tips for the racing?
Funny enough, I'm just at the cafe circling my favourites. Now, your best bet is to get a pen and paper and write these down. She's running his crooked and the trainer is Gary. And her name is Tomato Ketchup.
Is that actually her name?
No, me bacon Sowley's here and I just needed some ketchup. Sorry, mate, I've got to go.
Harry? Listen to Harry and make your best bet at BetVictor. 18 plus, please gamble responsibly.
Collect a double welcome bonus of 50,000 Avios with the new Barclaycard Avios Plus credit card when you spend £3,000 in your first 3 months.
Cappuccino.
That could whisk you from everyday to getaway. Our 50,000 Avios offer ends 18th July 2022. Check your eligibility now. Search Barclaycard Avios Plus. Representative example, 72.4% APR representative variable. Purchase rate per annum 23.9% variable, based on a credit limit of £1,200. £20 monthly fee, subject to application and financial status. Eligibility and conditions apply. Double welcome bonus for new customers only. Usually 25,000 Avios.
Everyone's got a nectar doppelganger, someone that looks like you.
I even shop like you.
And we both know how to make the most of our shopping. The Nectar card.
No, the Nectar app.
Eh? With Nectar you can collect and spend points at Argos and Sainsbury's.
But with the app, there's also personalised discounts and bonus points on products you buy most at Sainsbury's.
But...
plus hundreds of brands to discover and collect points at, like eBay, Esso and Just Eat.
What?
Nectar. Get the app, get more. Personalised discounts require Smart Shop. Exclusions apply. For full T's and C's, visit nectar.com/app-terms.
Today's $1.99 wrap of the day is the garlic mayo chicken one. Guaranteed to cause flavour envy. Picture a soft tortilla wrap filled with...
oh, delicious crispy or grilled chicken.
Garlicky mayo.
Today's $1.99 garlic mayo chicken one. So big on flavour, everyone will want some. Only at McDonald's. From 11 a.m.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Hello, boys.
Chrissy texts, we need a general election before the Tories bring in the new border changes, which will make it more difficult for Labour to get into power. Well, she might have a point there, Chrissy. They're doing a Republican Party and taking over the country by stealth, I'm sure. They're making it as difficult as possible for any other party to get into power, and that's what these voter ID laws are about. They stole them from the Republican Party, whose little scheme is small changes that will eventually make it virtually impossible for any other party to get into power. Because younger people are those that won't have a voter ID, and younger people are those that are less likely to vote Conservative. That's why they're doing it. Because there is no widespread voter fraud in this country. It's solving a problem that doesn't exist. And so if that's the case, then it is for another reason than that which they are stating. Voter ID. I mean, look at the demographics. The people that vote for the Conservative Party are 60 plus. It's, if you remember Venn diagrams from your school days, do you remember Venn diagrams from your school, like mathematics? Boring. Yeah, that's it. It's two intersecting circles, but they're intersecting to the point that it's just one circle over the other one. 60 plus and voting Conservative. Every single person over the age of 60 has voted Conservative. That's a slight exaggeration, but it's more or less right. And weirdly, the poor are more likely to vote Conservative than the well-off. Isn't that weird? What bizarre times we live in. I wonder if that's the Bodger effect.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
They were mesmerised by his bodginess. But those who are under the age of 60, and particularly younger people, are less likely to have a photo ID because they're less likely to have gone abroad, they're less likely to have a passport, they're less likely to have a driving licence. So those are the ones that will be dissuaded from voting. And you don't have to get many people to not vote in order to cling on to or acquire power. You don't have to get millions of people to stay at home. It could be, in some places, a matter of 100 or 50 or 10 or 1. Every little counts. And, the border changes, I haven't investigated those in detail, Chrissy, but if they're changing the borders, then it's probably not in order to make things fairer. Atlanta, hello, Graham.
Oh, Nick, thanks a lot for taking my call. I haven't spoken to you in a long time. I thought I was blacklisted for some reason.
Not to my knowledge.
Is it lost on you that there's some kind of parallel universe going on? The way everybody hates Boris. He's got 55 supporters leaving his office. Biden's got 36% approval.
Wow.
80% don't want him to run again.
No.
And he's lost 17 members in his crew. And not only that, we used to send all kinds of oil to Europe and wherever, and that's not happening anymore because there's no permits being issued. There's no action on any permits. The oil companies are afraid to invest any money because if somebody's going to slam them. And it's just a whole... You got Ukraine, you got...
Whoa, Graham, you're all over the shop. The oil companies...
I know.
Listen to me. The oil companies aren't investing in Europe? Of course they are. They're everywhere.
Why? No. Either I misspoke or you misheard. I mean, they're not investing in projects in the United States because they won't be approved for doing what they want to do.
The oil companies aren't investing in the United States. I'm not sure that's actually true. What is it you're getting at?
I'm getting at that you've got the same exact problems that we have. We got two world leaders that are out of their minds.
Well, that is a good point. Yeah.
And maybe three with Putin.
Well, maybe.
But that's a whole nother story.
Isn't it just? Yeah. Why is Biden so unpopular? I mean, is it just by dint of him coming to power as the world collapsed?
No, I don't, and I don't think the world collapsed. Obviously the pandemic was something that was horrible.
Yeah.
But there have been other horrible things that were.
Well, now we're coming into this extraordinary economic downturn, which is a pretty unfortunate time to acquire the top job. So is it just that? Is it just unfortunate timing?
I don't know. It's the you talk about the dumb and stupid who voted conservative, the younger one, then you vote for everybody over 60 voting conservative, and I guess that's true because if you're heartless if you don't vote liberal when you're young, and you're an idiot if you don't vote conservative when you're old. But I don't know.
But that is predicated on you only having your self-interest at heart when you're older. I mean, what you just said, which is I can't remember who said that initially, but it's true. It's a truism that younger people vote for the party that is more interested in helping a lot of people. By extension, when you get older, you're less interested in helping a lot of people, and you're just interested in helping yourself. And that's the difference between young people vote left-wing and older people vote right-wing.
There's more altruism with the older set than there is with the younger set. And that's true. There's more altruism in this country with Republicans than there are with Democrats. They tip better. Republicans tip better.
They tip better? Are you kidding me? How do you know that?
Yeah, no.
How do you know that?
Because I read statistics, Nick. Come on.
You read statistics about tipping based on the party that they voted for the last time. You know what, Graham? I'm going to choose to not believe that. But better luck next time. They tip more. Well, if they're better off, they probably tip more. And if you're better off, then you're more likely to vote Republican. That's like saying that millionaires tip more than the homeless. Yeah, they probably do. It doesn't mean to say they're more generous, because a tip in a restaurant, if you're a millionaire, means precious little to you. But if you're homeless and you tip even 10 pence, then it means an enormous amount to you. And now we're getting into the realms of religion. What would Jesus think? 0345 6060 973. That wasn't an invitation, by the way, to tell me what you think Jesus would think. Don't even contemplate doing that. Natalie emails, it also made me think about the role It also made me think about the role of the Fourth Estate. It almost made me think about the role the Fourth Estate has played in the drama. Finally, we are seeing more real questioning of government ministers and the countering of their ridiculous claims. But they should have been doing this long ago. Yeah, there's a certain reticence among the media to call a liar, especially if they're a government minister. There is also that Trump thing that the regime do, which is to throw so many untruths out the window that a journalist won't know which one to pick up first. And they won't have been briefed in full before their interview. And neither will they know the facts that would counter those that the misinformation that a minister has just dropped. They would have to go away and check it later. But of course that's no good, because the minister has disappeared later. It's exactly what Trump does. He discombobulates by just chucking rubbish at you until you're just swimming in it and you can't take it anymore. And you can only fact check him later, after the fact, at which point he has told 50 other lies. So you never catch up. And Boris Johnson, there's this video of him many years ago saying this exact thing. This is his plan, his way of organising his affairs. He used the word chaff in the sense that if you've seen Top Gun, then you'll have seen a lot of it. But you've seen those videos of like a helicopter or a plane that has an incoming missile, and then they throw out these like red hot like fireworks, and the missile goes for the hottest thing that it can see, which is this stuff that they've just thrown out. Thereby the missile misses. Chaff. That's what Boris Johnson said. I've seen it multiple times. He told us what he does. He said, you just throw out so much chaff that the interviewer and the public, they just get lost and they're swimming in it. And then you just nip nimbly away. Of course, he doesn't nip nimbly anywhere. He didn't use that phrase. That was mine. But so he told us what his scheme was. And then he went and enacted it. When they tell you who they are, believe them the first time. I do 3 podcasts, by the way. One's called The Nick Abbot Habit. It is of old shows, taking the funny bits out and squeezing them together. Concentrated amusement. It's 30 minutes long and comes out on Mondays. It's called The Nick Abbot Habit. Best of old shows. And at the moment I'm going through old shows of, just before the invisible bat disease came to these shores. Very odd. Kind of funny talking about it then and listening to those old shows after having gone through all this. Now we know more than we knew then. But I think you'll be amused. The Nick Abbot Habit.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
From Global's newsroom at midnight, 8 Tory MPs have now entered the race to become the next party leader and Prime Minister. The latest to do so are former Health Secretaries Sajid Javid and Jeremy Hunt, who are both promising to reduce corporation tax to 15%. Paul Goodman, the editor of Conservative Home, is hoping a high threshold will be set for the support needed to get onto the official ballot.
I think the 1922 committee, which is the body that runs this whole show, I think they will want to take a decision to slim this thing down and prevent it, frankly, from running the risk of looking slightly absurd. I think you need a minimum threshold of, say, 25 people or 10% of the Conservative Parliamentary Party, 350 MPs, to whittle these people down.
In the last hour, Penny Mordaunt has also hinted she may be running. The Trade Minister has shared an article from an economist supporting her candidacy. Sri Lanka's President and Prime Minister have both agreed to resign after protesters stormed their homes. One of the residences was set on fire. The demonstrators were venting their anger over an economic crisis which has led to severe shortages of essential items. Charulata Hogg is chair of the Sri Lanka Campaign for Peace and Justice. She says there's a mistrust of those in power.
It is really an assertion by the Sri Lankan people to take away power from those who they do not consider accountable, who they do not trust anymore. And that has been the sentiment behind these protests.
A Tesco store in South Lanarkshire has had to be evacuated after a woman was stabbed there. The 25-year-old was taken to hospital after the attack yesterday lunchtime, but her condition isn't known. A man has been arrested. The RAF has deployed fighter jets to Finland and Sweden for joint training exercises. Both countries have recently applied to join NATO. The UK signed mutual security assurance declarations with the nations in May. Chelsea have reportedly agreed a £47 million transfer fee with Manchester City to sign Raheem Sterling. The 27-year-old England forward is expected to undergo a medical in the next few days. LBC weather staying dry overnight for England and Wales, cloudier across Northern Ireland and Scotland with some rain, a low of 10 Celsius. Later, rain in the far north clearing, then mostly dry, sunny and very warm elsewhere, a high of 29 degrees. From Global's newsroom for LBC, I'm Simon Conway.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
You're joking. Please hold the line. I'm trying to connect you.
Yes, I'm trying to connect a caller in San Francisco called Dave. Dave.
You know, it's always interesting when Republicans call your show, Nick. They'll say a whole lot of things in succession, none of which are true. But that doesn't stop them. So I applaud them for their faith in their own delusions. First of all, Trump never cracked 40% in approval ratings, and Republicans said, approval ratings don't matter. Biden dips below 50, and it's his political epitaph. So there's a little bit of a difference there. And the idea that 80% of Americans don't want President Biden to run again, I guess he got that the same way Trump got, if you inject bleach, it'll cure COVID. Just, one of those many people have said moments.
Yeah.
Joe Biden is not popular with the media, and the reason he's not popular with the media is that he's not entertaining. Even MSNBC, the left-leaning cable network, won't admit it, but they miss Trump. They miss Trump because, dumpster fires full of fireworks are more fun to watch than someone just quietly getting on with the job.
Ratings gold.
Absolutely, and the Republicans in the U.S. are a little bit rattled by Johnson's dethroning. Boris Johnson was kind of like the Padawan to Trump's Sith Lord, if I can use a Star Wars reference.
No.
And the fact that his own party sort of tossed him out has Trump MAGA Republicans worried, because they're worried that the Adam Kitzingers and even Mitch McConnell might actually grow a spine and say, we don't need you in 2024. So I wish Graham well, and the fact that he's mastered the art of drunk dialing internationally is impressive. But no, it's not true.
Well, you know what, Dave? I think that the Conservative Party, the Republicans rather, should be comforted by the fact that Joe Biden is 180 years old.
Exactly.
He looks like he's made out of parchment. He looks like he could blow away in the wind. And he thinks he's going to run again? No. But the problem is, who else?
Yeah. Well, there are actually a lot of who else's. There's a lot of up-and-coming Democrats. Cory Booker.
Okay. I don't know enough to have that conversation with you.
And, or even there are a lot of, Elizabeth Warren, interestingly enough, is looking at a woman. Yeah. I think, the problem is we look to the Senate for presidential candidates, and there are a lot of really, really up-and-coming, strong Republican or Democratic governors who have their eye on it. It'll be, if I don't think Joe Biden's going to run again, simply because I don't think Joe Biden will let him. I think Jill agreed to one term, and I think that was it. I don't think Kamala Harris would be the nominee if she ran, and Kamala Harris is from our own state of California. She was our attorney general. She was our senator. I'm a big fan, but I think she doesn't have broad support in the party. So there are a lot of interesting Democrats, both in governors and attorney generals, and
you know who I like? Katie Porter.
Katie Porter is amazing, and Katie Porter. I want Katie Porter to be Speaker of the House. Is what I want. I want her to. And Nancy Pelosi is my Congresswoman, and I adore her. But again, she's 1,080 years old, and looks like she's made out of paraffin. So it's time for her to, I think, to move on. I would love to have Katie Porter have that gavel, because she would literally whack the crap out of people with it. So it would be fun to watch.
She doesn't take any BS from anyone, and she really just unpicks her accusers into their constituent molecules and just leaves them helpless on the floor.
Just takes them apart. And just one last point about oil companies not investing in the United States, or what nonsense that is. There are literally thousands of oil project permits which have already been issued to the oil companies over the last 10 years, which they have not used. And the reason they have not used it is because they're making so much money right now, and there's only limited refining capacity, that there's no need for them to go to the investment in expensive developing. The idea that these poor, suffering oil companies are denied the chance to dig into the ground and get that Texas tea out is just nonsense.
And finally, Dave, you're at a restaurant and the bill comes to $100. How much do you tip?
I usually tip 20%.
Wow.
And I can guarantee you I tip more than all of my Republican friends.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, Dave. You tip less than 15 and they'll chase you down the street with a gun. Don't forget that. 0345 6060 973. Jack says the chaff that BJ refers to is the vast amounts of aluminium strips that were dropped by Allied bombers in World War II and designed to swamp the German radar with false signals so they couldn't detect the real bombers. This is a great analogy by him for his interview technique. Right. I thought it was the other kind of chap, but either or, it's pretty much the same thing. Distraction bombs, that's what it is. He distracts you till you can't think straight. And by the time you've got back your marbles and want to correct him on what he said at the beginning of the interview, he's told 20 other lies, and you're just swamped. You can't deal with it anymore. He'll take you down a rabbit hole. He'll pick one word out of what you've said and then just concentrate on that. He did it with, was it Tom Tugendhat? That famous clip of when they were talking about the amount of money that the military get in this country. And Tugendhat said that, we've got a serious imbalance in our ground troops. We need more tanks, and then we need more this and that. And Boris just picked on the tanks, and then insisted on just talking about that. And his questioner was trying to say, well, that's not really the extent of what I'm talking about. I just mentioned that in passing, and it's quite sad that you're taking us down this rabbit hole. And Boris wasn't listening to any of that because he had taken charge of where it was going now, and he was trying to ridicule the guy for saying that we need more tanks. if you think that there's going to be another tank war in Europe, then you are clearly deluded, said Boris Johnson.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Yeah, that will never happen. 0345 6060 973. Lewisham, Mohammed.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Yes. Hi.
Mohammed,
Thank you for taking my call.
Can you speak directly into the phone?
Yeah. Thank you for taking my call.
Yes.
I was just calling in regarding this politicians, the way they are treating us in this country, to be honest, taking us to be like a fool.
Mm-hmm.
When I see Nadine Zahawi saying that he's going to cut the tax or whatsoever, so why have they not done this one before? It's now that they want to do it.
Yes, good question. Yeah.
No, to be honest,
I mean,
really,
they've been in power for the last 12 years. Why haven't they started already? Yeah.
Yeah, to be honest. So it's like they're just taking the people in this country like to be a fool, you know.
Well, there's a very good reason why they're taking the people of this country to be fools, Mohammed, is because the people of this country keep voting for the party that they complain about over and over and over again.
Yeah. Even yesterday I was listening as well to the program when people were calling saying about the legacy of Boris Johnson. And I see people are still supporting Boris Johnson for all the things that they have done to this country, you know, and for the people as well. It's like I don't really get my head around it, to be honest.
I think that the people of this country, in general, our reputation abroad is that we do thrive on masochism. Thank you, sir. May I have another? We love it. I mean, some countries are sadistic, and we like a bit of a bit of self-harm, which and if you keep that in mind, it does explain quite a lot. It explains that whole stiff upper lip thing. Just keep taking the punishment and don't complain about it.
Stop whining.
Exactly. A little bit masochistic. That's what we're known for. All right, thanks a lot, Mohammed. 0345 6060 973. Sanjay says, Suella Braverman has seen the light in an interview. She said that she would bring integrity, honesty, democracy, a fairer society for all, put an end to racism, open the borders and rejoin the EU. And then something monumental happened. Really?
I'm immensely grateful to you for everything you've done in British politics over the last few years. I used to be an ardent Remainer. I voted Remain. I believed in the European project.
Mm-hmm.
I believed that staying in the European Union was the best thing for us. And then something happened and something monumental happened. It completely changed my opinion on the whole situation.
What was that monumental thing, Mark?
I was kicked in the head by a horse.
Right, very good. Okay, fine. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Nige. You are the best. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC.
Oh, right, yeah.
And that reminds me that I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin. Now, if you've got an hour and you wish to be amused, if you want to just take yourself away from all of this mess to another place entirely, then it'll do it for you. Because we don't really talk about politics at all. In fact, we disagree on politics so much that we can't talk about it. And we have safe words that we yell out when we get triggered. At which point we have to immediately start talking about a pre-agreed topic, not politics. So if you just want to leave all of this this mess behind, then it'll be right up your street. It's called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol? Now, the idea is that Carol and I try to solve people's problems. And sometimes we do. Sometimes we don't. But sometimes we do. And if you want us to have a bash at your issue, this is the address to send it to. nickandcarol@global.com. NICKANDCAROL@global.com. and be prepared for a certain amount of satisfaction.
Oh, right, yeah.
Ask for it by name on an internet near you. What's your problem with Nick and Carol?
This is LBC.
Fever Tree Mediterranean Tonic Water. Made with zesty lemon thyme from a small family farm in Provence and essential oils from herbs that grow in the Mediterranean sunshine. So, if 3/4 of your G&T is a Fever Tree tonic, maybe it's time to call it a T&G. Fever Tree. Mix with the best. Ooh, that takes me straight to the med.
Collect a double welcome bonus of 50,000 Avios with the new Barclaycard Avios Plus credit card when you spend £3,000 in your first 3 months.
Cappuccino.
That could whisk you from every day to getaway. Our 50,000 Avios offer ends 18th July 2022. Check your eligibility now. Search Barclaycard Avios Plus. Representative example, 72.4% APR representative variable. Purchase rate per annum 23.9% variable, based on a credit limit of £1,200. £20 monthly fee, subject to application and financial status. Eligibility and conditions apply. Double welcome bonus for new customers only. Usually 25,000 Avios.
Hey, Harry. Hello, mate. I'm off to Vegas. Got any tips?
Here's one. Save yourself the jet lag and head over to Bet Victor and play on the slots instead. You get all the fun of the casino without the faff of the tuxedo. But listen, if you want to win big, like really clean up, your best bet is to... Clean up? Oh, bloomin' heck, I was supposed to clean up. Sorry, pal. Gotta go. The boss is back in 10 minutes and she'll have my guts for garters.
Harry? Listen to Harry and make your best bet at Bet Victor Casino. 18 plus, please gamble responsibly.
Nick Abbot on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Hang about, Nick. Listen. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is this, Nick, right?
Ruby texts, all I am wondering is, will the new PM have the same taste in decor, or will Carrie peel the monstrously expensive wallpaper off the walls and take it with her? Have you seen the pictures of what it is that they bought? Of course, they didn't buy it, but, you know, did you see the pictures of what it is that somebody bought? God, just headache-inducing. How could anybody live with that stuff? Unbelievable. I mean, if you had to live in that, you'd be popping the paracetamol like they're going out of style. I'm getting a migraine just thinking about it. And the bill! Wow! No wonder he didn't want to pay for it. The full extent of the notorious Wallpapergate scandal, seen by some as heralding the start of Bodger's downfall, has been laid bare. The Independent obtained a leaked copy of the invoice for the renovation of the Prime Minister's Downing Street flat, which shows that it cost more than, get ready, grip onto something firm, more than £200,000.
What?
To do up a few rooms in a building that already exists. Not to build one from scratch. 200 grand. Items ordered by Bodge and his current wife from upmarket interior designer Lulu Little include, but are not limited to, a drinks trolley said to be like the one owned in Paris by ballet dancer Rudolf Nureyev at £3,675 for a drinks trolley with no drinks on it.
Booze.
2,260 quid's worth of gold wallpaper that we've heard so much about, and which got her the nickname Carrie Antoinette. Good one. 2 sofas cost more than £15,000 for sofas. £3,000 was spent on a paint effect. £3,000 on paint for a hallway. The cheapest item on the list, a kitchen tablecloth at £500. The estimate for the works, which involved sanding the floorboards, painting and decorating, and installing new furnishings and fittings, came to £30,000. The £208,000 estimate was sent to the Cabinet Office in early 2020, which has a £30,000 annual budget to renovate the PM's official Downing Street flat. Now, £30,000 to renovate a flat, which has just been renovated a couple of years ago by the previous incumbent, that seems quite generous. Keep in mind that it's us dopes who pay taxes that are paying for it. But 30 grand is not enough for his imperial bodgeness.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Goodness me, no. Not somebody of his calibre. The cost was secretly funded by Lord Brownlow and the Conservative Party until, of course, the scandal was uncovered and then Johnson was told to pay for it from his own funds. I wonder if he did.
I can't comment on that.
Blah, blah. The leaked bill shows that the Johnsons ordered a £3,675 Nureyev trolley, said to be inspired by a drinks trolley owned by Rudolf Nureyev. I think for £3,675, I'd want Rudolf Nureyev to dance on it for me. They spent £15,120 on 2 sofas, another £2,880 for fabric to upholster them, 11 grand on dining chairs, 7,000 on a rug, 4,200 on a wing-back chair, £3,800 for a mirror. Wow! And £1,000 for a kitchen television table. The leaked bill sent by Lulu Little's Sown Britain, that's the company, appears to suggest that the Johnsons ordered a drawing room lamp for, are you ready? £6,000 for a lamp. Oh, it gets better. £6,000 for the lamp, 2,500 for the lamp shade.
What?
I am stunned. Upholstery and curtains, 21,280. Johnson was then forced to apologise in January for failing to disclose to his former Whitehall ethics advisor. He had an ethics advisor. Priceless. This was Lord Geit. Failed to disclose to his former ethics advisor, Lord Geit, messages between himself and Lord Brownlow, who contributed more than 50 grand towards the flat makeover. You know, that Lord Brownlow's very generous, isn't he? Could he stump up for a couple of cushions and a throw for me?
No.
Didn't think so. In his report into the flat refurbishment in May 21, Lord Geit said Johnson told him he did not know that Lord Brownlow paid the money before media reports earlier that year. Didn't know. Liar! Huh. A separate inquiry by the Electoral Commission watchdog found out that Johnson had, in fact, messaged Lord Brownlow over WhatsApp about the revamp in November 20. Lord Geit resigned from his post, rebuked the Prime Minister for failing to disclose the texts, but did not change his initial verdict that Mr Johnson did not break the ministerial code.
I followed the ministerial guidance at all times. You followed the ministerial guidance at all times. Last year it emerged that the cost of the refurbishment was met by the Cabinet Office and then recharged to the Conservative Party. Nothing to see here. Please move along, or Priti Patel will be set about you. After the scandal was revealed, the money was returned to Tory HQ and Johnson agreed to pick up the bill, although it is not clear where he obtained the necessary £178,000 once the Cabinet Office paid its 30 grand share. It's not clear where he obtained the money. Any thoughts on that, Bodge? Not really, no. He'll think about it. And you see a picture of this stuff? I wouldn't give you 20 quid for it, never mind about £200,000. I'd give you 20,000 just to take it down. I'd give you £2,000 to paint over it in Magnolia. 0345 6060 973. I mean, if you want just one story that encapsulates everything we know about his imperial bodgeness and the way in which they perceive us, the little people, thinking they can just charge along and just throw receipts over their shoulder and we, the little people, will pick them up. I am stunned. Let's have Carnforth. Hey up, Annie.
Hey up, Nick. How you doing?
Great, mate.
Good. Yeah, Bodger probably just got it wheeled in a suitcase, 178 grand, like Charlie Boy did recently. Didn't somebody give him a £1 million or something?
Oh. Well, the difference being that the £1 million wasn't for Chaz personally. It was another place that he was, doing up for charitable reasons.
Yeah, no, I do know that.
But it was a bit weird. Why would somebody walk around with £1 million in cash money in a shopping bag, even if it was a Fortnum and Mason shopping bag?
It's very odd, isn't it?
Weird.
Yeah, a bit unexplainable. I'm sure there is some peculiar explanation.
Must be,
but
yeah.
Not a very normal one, I wouldn't have thought.
No.
I don't think your average person normally does that, do they?
Well, I know I don't.
Do a bank transfer or even write a cheque.
Makes sense to me.
It's been an interesting and entertaining week, hasn't it?
Oh, it's just going to get better and better. They're going to start pulling chunks out of each other.
Oh, yes, we're going to have to enjoy the blooming Deadbeats Donkey Derby for the next couple of months. Well,
the Deadbeats Donkey Derby. Good one.
Yeah, well, Boris is squatting in number 10 and getting up to God knows what.
Who knows?
I mean, it is a bit alarming. He could be doing anything, really.
He's bashing his fat little hands down on the big red button on his desk, but it's not working. It's not attached to the missiles anymore.
Yeah, and God, I mean, the thing about it is, awful as he is, and it's great to see him get his comeuppance and everything, but what horror are we going to get next, you know?
Well, this is exactly right. This is not the end of this film. We've just gone through an hour and a half of a horror film, and we think, oh, finally, the monster is dead, and the good guys have won, and everything's going to be okay. And then we check our watch, and there's 15 minutes of the film left. It's not dead yet.
No, he's sort of, not completely, but even when he is, I mean, it'll just be a case of the king is dead, long live the king, won't it? There'll just be another horror from the Tory party that might not be as bad personality-wise as Bodger, but might be even worse, like ideology-wise.
Well, exactly right. The next person will be easier on the eye. They will have the appearance of being more honest and trustworthy, but they won't be taking the party in a new direction because it'll all be the same people. It'll be the same people that support them, and crucially, it'll be the same people that fund them. Billionaires' interests and our interests do not coincide, Annie.
They certainly don't, and I can't think why anybody would think that Rishi Sunak would be in any way a good Prime Minister. I mean, he's not in touch with the real world. I mean, not the world that most of us inhabit anyway. He doesn't even know how to fill his car up with petrol or use a contactless card. Or
I mean, just that alone should exclude him from any position of authority. He doesn't know how to use a credit card.
No.
Wow.
No. Or even fill up his car. Presumably has somebody to drive him round.
Yeah.
And presumably him and his wife don't do their shopping unless she's going to going to Harrods to buy, designer clothes and handbags and whatnot.
I would imagine
that her everyday shopping.
Well, I would imagine that Harrods sends a selection around and she chooses what she wants, rather than actually, having to rub shoulders with the hoi polloi.
Yeah,
in a shop.
That'll be right. Yeah.
Even if it is Harrods.
Yes. And when you mentioned before about, it might be entertaining if we got Priti Patel, I was thinking, well, only for about 2 seconds. She was a very scary thought that would be. I mean, she'd probably have them all in jack boots, and she'd probably deport you, Nick, because seeing as you're not born in England. I mean, she'd probably deport you back to Scotland, by which time they'll probably be sailing off as fast as they can to get away from England, which is possibly might be happening in the future.
Well, fortunately, I'm going to cling on to my Scottish and Welsh heritage just as a sort of an insurance policy in case certain individuals get in and Scotland does makes the decision to leave. I'll be right there with them.
Yeah, she might have to emigrate sharply.
The only thing that I wouldn't like is having to suffer Glaswegian weather, because, I mean, that would be unfortunate.
Yes, but surely it can't be like that in all of Scotland all of the time. We've had lovely holidays in the west coast of Scotland and it hasn't rained at all.
Well, I went all the way to the north of Scotland for a holiday once, and it was absolutely fantastic. The beaches up there are amazing, and there's no one on them, mostly because they're freezing cold, but they look great from inside the caravan. Here, Annie, I'm going to have to go because it's past the news, but thanks for that. 0345 6060 973, text 84850. Email nica@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC. The news headlines on LBC now at 12:30 with Simon Conway.
A total of 8 Tory MPs have now entered the race to be the next party leader and Prime Minister. Former Health Secretaries Sajid Javid and Jeremy Hunt are the latest to join the crowded field. Both are promising to cut tax. British fighter jets have been sent to Finland and Sweden for joint training exercises following the country's applications to join NATO. The RAF says the deployment was part of an increased presence in the region and was requested by the host nations. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge are expected to attend the men's singles final at Wimbledon this afternoon. William and Kate will watch Nick Kyrgios take on defending champion Novak Djokovic. And LBC weather staying dry overnight for England and Wales. Cloudier across Northern Ireland and Scotland with some rain, a low of 10 Celsius. Later, rain in the far north clearing, then mostly dry, sunny and very warm elsewhere. A high of 29 degrees.
LBC.
Paddington is in your McDonald's Happy Meal, discovering what he could be, like a magician or a chef, an artist or an astronaut. You can be whatever you choose with Paddington. And don't forget, you can choose between a book or toy. Some fun, some food, it's all inside this Happy Meal. Until the 2nd of August, subject to availability from 11 a.m. Includes choice between book or toy, but not the specific range or range item. Supply issues may arise. Check mcdonalds.co.uk/Happy Meal for changes.
Hey, Harry.
Hello, mate.
Should I back the underdog or risk a few extra quid on the favourite?
Listen, everyone knows that I like a bet, but if there's one thing I've learned over the years, it's this. No matter what the amount, no matter whether you're backing a player or buying a racehorse, your best bet is never to spend more than you can afford. That's why BetVictor's new affordability measures are specially designed to help you avoid ever spending beyond your means.
Listen to Harry and please gamble responsibly. 18 plus, be gamble aware.
Collect a double welcome bonus of 50,000 Avios with the new Barclaycard Avios Plus credit card when you spend £3,000 in your first 3 months.
Cappuccino.
That could whisk you from everyday to getaway. Our 50,000 Avios offer ends 18th July 2022. Check your eligibility now. Search Barclaycard Avios Plus. Representative example, 72.4% APR representative variable. Purchase rate per annum 23.9% variable. Based on a credit limit of £1,200. £20 monthly fee. Subject to application and financial status. Eligibility and conditions apply. Double welcome bonus for new customers only. Usually 25,000 Avios.
This is LBC with Nick Abbot.
Don't touch me! I'll kill you!
0345 6060 973. Rosalind texts, but have you actually seen the drinks trolley? It looks like something from Woolworths. All of it looks hideous to me. I mean, I looked and I looked and I looked at pictures of what it was that they'd bought. And I couldn't see a single thing that I would have in my home. Nothing. Not one single thing. Why anybody would look at that and think, oh, yeah, that's the kind of atmosphere I'd like to live in. I mean, it just looks headache-inducing. All of those patterns on everything. And the same pattern that's on the rug is on the sofa, and it's the same pattern on the cushions, and it's the same pattern on the walls. I mean, why would anybody want to live like that? Terrible. I can't imagine that a business can actually make money selling that stuff, but apparently so. Hard to believe. It's just, I mean, it's like maximal patterns on every. If the dog stood still long enough, they'd pattern the dog too. Bromley. Hello, Virginia.
Oh, Nick. Yes. Now, I know, Nick, that you have a background at your education university in psychology.
Well, I did a psychology degree. It doesn't mean I know anything about the subject.
No, but I'm sure you'll know about this. I mean, I've been a mental health nurse, still am, of like 35 years standing. And it's only just hit me today that we might be not quite understanding Boris Johnson. And I think if you had an actual sort of neuropsychology assessment, it would be quite revealing, because he seems to tick all the boxes for having two disorders, a narcissistic personality disorder and an emotionally unstable personality disorder.
Emotionally unstable. I believe. Wait a minute. I believe he's a narcissist, but emotionally unstable. Where do you get that from?
Well, look at the way he behaves with women and his children. I mean, it's all a bit, random and unstable, isn't it? It's not the pattern of someone in a stable mental state.
Well, I don't know about that. I think that a bloke in a position of power will do whatever he thinks he can get away with. That doesn't mean to say he has got a mental problem.
Well, I think he has. You'll be familiar with the ICD-10 code of psychiatric disorders, which we all have to sort of work within when we see patients. We have to code them as a certain sort of psychiatric disorder, and it's F60 for personality disorders. And it just suddenly dawned on me, as I said earlier today, that I think he does actually have a certifiable disorder if only anyone had bothered assessing him. All his traits, his lack of compassion.
Well, you know what? It's all of the things that you're about to mention, you could say about the chief executive officers of about 50% of the companies in the FTSE 100 and worldwide. It's those character traits do benefit somebody getting to the top, not being bothered about anybody else's feelings or future, not being concerned with how your actions affect others. These are character traits that will assist a certain type of person to the very top.
I don't know, Nick. I think you're being a bit too generous on him, which is unlike you, to be honest. What's his end game? He must be... I was listening to your...
I don't think there is an end game. I don't believe that there is an end game. I think it's a present game. He doesn't strike me as being someone who has like a long-term plan. He's more like a dog. He wants immediate gratification, and he wants it right now.
Yes, but also tied into that, I think his end game might be, I'll go out in a blaze of flames. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't care. Just put me in mind of that James Cagney film, White Heat, from the 1940s, where it ends up with him going top of the world, Ma. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't care. As long as he goes down in the history books, even as the most famous person who's wreaked the most havoc as a prime minister on a country.
Yeah, no, I don't think you're right. I think you're way off there.
Oh.
I think he's very, very keen on having a glowing chapter in the history books. I think he would be very invested in having a positive image as far as historians are concerned. He wants to be as well thought of as Churchill, for instance. With all the character traits and faults that Churchill had, people would defend his reputation with violence these days. That's how much he is revered. And I think that's what Bodge wants. I think he's very keen to have a positive press. So I would question your thesis there, Virginia.
Oh, but Nick, that is another example of total delusional thinking, isn't it?
Are you calling me totally delusional?
No, not you. Him.
Right.
So James O'Brien yesterday, Friday, went through 50 things that the Daily Mirror had highlighted of his worst mistakes.
50?
Yeah.
Wow.
50.
In a brief 3-hour show, he managed to do 50. Wow.
No, he didn't. He only managed about 11 because everyone else was phoning up and adding to it.
Yeah.
Rightly so. But I don't know. I just think if he did have a psychologist assessment, he would tick the boxes for having some sort of personality disorder. And the shame is that not me personally, but this country elected him on the basis of his sort of bluster and nonsense and ridiculous behaviour. Yeah. And now, look, he's left us in tatters.
Tatters. Well, let's not get carried away. The country is still here. It hasn't flipped upside down, burst into flames, and sunk. Not yet. We may just survive his exit. Let's fingers crossed. Let's hope so. All right. Thanks for that, Virginia. 0345 6060 973. If he did have a psychological assessment. If it was a male psychologist who was doing the assessment, he'd probably have him fired. If it was a female assistant, he'd probably get off with her. But that's the lovable bodge, isn't it?
Here we go. Okay.
0345 6060 973. Let's have a call in Lewisham. Hello, Jane.
Hello, Nick.
Jane.
Well, hopefully, Bodge is moving on to better things, and we are moving on to a better country. And there are a couple of them in there that would be okay.
Okay?
Right?
That's what we got to deal with? Okay? That's the best we can hope for? Okay?
With this lot, yes. And this net carbon zero, that is causing all the trouble.
No, it isn't.
We are nowhere near ready for that.
Well, it's a way off. It's a way off before we have to get there.
No, it's not. It's only about 7 years, isn't it? You know what I mean? We're just not ready for it.
If we all pull together as a team, it's possible, Jane. You see, the thing is, all of the problems that are facing the world at the moment, everything that we're facing at the moment, it will be as nothing compared to a worst-case scenario with climate change. I mean, we're already seeing it, but people are pretending that it's not happening. People are saying, well, it's just weather. I mean, you've got drought in the western states of America. They ain't got no water anymore. I mean, there's vast cities that they're considering piping water in from 3,000 miles away over the other side of America into California and Nevada and places like that. I mean, that's how bad it's got. And so you've got the failure of rains in one area and way too much rain in another. The problem is that the whole world, in a very short period of time, has grown up depending on the reliability of the weather. Over the last 100 years or so. That's all. And we have grouped ourselves into areas where we can rely on the rains at a certain time of year, and it be dry at a certain time of year, and we know what temperature it's going to be. And so we can create infrastructure based on those criteria. Not criteria, but those, like the statistics based on the weather that we ordinarily experience. But in a very, very short period of time, the weather seems to have changed dramatically. And the people that say, well, the climate change is not a thing and it's a conspiracy from the governments of the world to... I've got no idea what they say, but, you know, the conspiracy theorists will say that it's a reason... The governments of the world have conspired together to stop us from having outside heat lamps because they want to be mean to us. You know, it's just ridiculous stuff like that. It's just weather, they say, over and over and over again. Meanwhile, there's places in Australia which are... And they've got houses floating down the road because they've got so much water. When the rains fail in places like India or Africa, then there's going to be millions of people on the move because the only option they will have is to move to a better place, which is where we are, or to just sit there and die. Those will be their options. So everything that we're obsessing about now is peanuts compared to even the Putin-Ukraine war. It's nothing compared to what might happen if the scientists continue to be right about what might befall us in the worst case scenarios about as climate change wreaks its havoc. And people aren't really paying attention to that. People are saying, oh, well, we've got other problems now, so we'll just forget that for a while. Like Jane just said, we've got other more pressing, there'll always be more pressing things because people will always say, oh, well, it probably won't happen, or you can't imagine the disaster until it actually happens. And there won't be much of a warning. It'll just happen. We are being warned a lot all the time, but we're ignoring it. We're pretending it's not happening. We're saying, oh, well, it's just weather and it always changes and, it's okay, so it hasn't rained for 30 years. And but that's just noise. It'll probably rain next month. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Once 100 million people are on the move and they're coming to a place where there is water, which is where we live, then you can start worrying. Then you might think, well, maybe we should have taken that whole net zero thing a little bit more seriously when we had the chance. But thanks for that, Jane. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC.
Coming up at 1 on LBC, Clive Bull.
The front runners to be the next Prime Minister are emerging, and some are already briefing against their rivals. As the contest gets dirty, do any of them inspire you?
Clive Bull on LBC.
Hula hoops puffed. Sense its lightness, its puffiness. Unleash the delicious taste of Hula-licious. Hula-lightful.
Hula hoops puffed. Light puffy hoops in a range of delicious flavours and 72 calories per pack. Hula-licious. Hula-lightful.
First up in today's tour, a modern masterpiece, the new Italian stack from McDonald's. A carefully crafted burger made with 2 delicious beef patties, mozzarella and a splash of rich tomato sauce. An edible work of art. And over here in the collection, the exquisite crispy chicken Italiano. Delectable crispy chicken breast paired beautifully with a basil pesto-style sauce. Perfection.
Holiday from home with the McDonald's summer menu. Available until the 26th of July. From 11 a.m, participating restaurants subject to availability.
It's Lidl's Pick of the Week. Save up to 40% with 12 fresh deals. Like cherries, 99p. Celery, 35p a pack. Beef up your Barbies with 4 XXL British Medallion Steaks, $5.99. And deluxe cheddar and smoked bacon sausages, just $1.99. Now that's big on quality and always Lidl on price. Subject to availability, selected stores, excludes NI.
Medical negligence can destroy lives. If you've suffered from misdiagnosis, surgical errors, or inadequate medical care, Harris Fowler are ready to fight for you. Our specialist team will ensure you receive the compensation to which you are entitled, and also the best possible treatment, aftercare, and support. It's no win, no fee, no risk. Call Harris Fowler on 0800 213 214. You've got nothing to lose, and perhaps a lot to gain. Harris Fowler, a personal injury solicitor.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet @LBC. Text 84850.
Come on, we're running late.
0345 6060 973. Virginia in the US. Apotomax. What's it called, Aubrey?
Richmond. I'm in Richmond.
It says Appomattox. Is that right?
Oh no! Look, I can't explain that. That might be the a trunk that is going overseas on or something like that. But
okay.
It's not Appomattox though. It's not Appomattox.
Appomattox, right? Appomattox, right? Where are you?
Matter of fact, Appomattox is where Lee surrendered the Grant. So
a history lesson.
Yeah. Look, I have been listening to the channel for the better part of a year now. I've been, hearing things like the comment on Joe Biden's ratings.
Yes.
Here's the facts. You can check this out for yourself. Joe Biden came in at around 60-some% positive. The thing is, he solved a whole lot of I call it the Trump epidemic and recession. His ratings started going down after Afghanistan. That's another Trump mess that Joe Biden inherited.
Right.
Most people don't know that. They look at it like he did it. He didn't do it. Trump did it.
Yes, but Biden essentially followed through on Trump's policy, but then the outcome is surely on Joe Biden. It could have gone better.
Not really, because what happened, Trump redeployed 85% of the force out of Afghanistan by the time Joe Biden got in.
Right. Okay. So why is Joe Biden's numbers then down around the 40% or 38%, something like that? And should he actually run again? I think too old.
Well, I don't see too old as the issue. His thinking is solid. Now look, Joe Biden is gaffe prone.
It's not. I would say it's not solid. It's tremulous. Let's put it this way. There's not too much of an age difference between him and Trump. And Trump sounds. I'm not talking about the content of what he says. I'm just talking about the quality of his voice. Very loud, very strong, and stable. In just the quality of his voice, whereas Biden, he just sounds just doddery and old.
Well, the problem is you got to listen to Biden when he gets fired up on some of his speeches, and you'll see the difference. But the whole thing is that's the difference between what I call the politics of the WWE versus real politics.
Right.
It's the same thing with Boris Johnson. Everybody gets caught up in the bluff and bluster. Mm-hmm. But I don't know what kind of language I can use on this. So tell me
bluff and bluster is a good one, and you restrained yourself very well there, Aubrey. This isn't American radio. You have to control yourself at all times. But yeah, you're quite right. And that's the reason why he was so successful, is because people were paying attention to the act. We were amused by the act, same as Trump. We weren't concentrating on the content of what it was that he was saying, because we were too busy being amused by that whole paw thing that he does. Aubrey, I've got to go, but thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. Let's have Southampton. Hello, Simon.
Hey, good evening. Can you? I got. Excuse me.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. Well, no, I'm not. No, I'm about as all right as everybody else with a brain.
Stop whining.
Well, I just want to make a quick statement, but I also want to play a little guessing game with you.
Statement?
Yeah. You know that lovely, fluffy Rishi Sunak video?
Yes.
Well, I'd like to question the legitimacy of it, because at the very beginning, the plane that his mum's coming in on lands at Southampton, and Southampton Airport can't accommodate a jumbo jet.
It lands at Southampton?
Yeah. As it's flying over, the next thing you see is Southampton. Well, of course, we've got an airport, a brilliant airport, but they don't land planes from India there, and they certainly can't accommodate a jumbo jet. Right. And I know the locals in Southampton, and they're talking at the moment of extending the runway, and everybody is up in arms. So it is a lie. It starts off with a visual, veritable, provable lie that he does not fly into Southampton Airport. That's my statement.
Right. Now, okay.
Okay. So can I start? I want to ask you a couple of questions, right? And then we'll see if we can work out the conclusion. Are we having a cost of living crisis at the moment?
Are we having a cost of living crisis at the moment? Yes, we are.
Okay.
Have you seen the price of butter?
Yeah. £9 something. Are the poor getting poorer? Yeah.
Yes.
I'd say so. We're maybe heading towards a recession.
Yes.
People can't afford to feed their children.
Yeah. One in 6 families are in poverty at the moment. 1 in 6.
and we're paying £2 a litre for fuel, roughly, and the energy prices are about to go up again.
It's going to be over £3,000 a year, £3,000 a year for your gas and your electricity.
Yeah, well, I've been listening to LBC all day as usual. There's nothing unusual there.
Right.
And the amount of the heart of thinking that have phoned into various shows to say that they would vote for Rishi Sunak. Sunak, who has not flown into Southampton and who is not made any secret of the fact that the reason why him and Johnson fell out is because Johnson wanted to spend and Sunak didn't, so that he made out that there was a difference in opinion there. That man is going to impose austerity on top of the austerity we already have and the cost of living crisis. So any of your people that have been sucked in by that lie of a video and that fluffy piano, he will be the worst one, because maybe it'd be good for us because it might actually help them out of office quicker. But that is what I can't understand is why can't people see what is happening right in front of their nose?
Well, I'll tell you, and Donald Trump has said this best.
I love the poorly educated.
The poorly educated will, and the poor will vote for him. Look at the demographics. Who votes for the Conservative Party? It's 60 plus. And the poorest in society. It's just really odd. You wouldn't think that. You would bet money in it being the opposite of that. You'd think that it would be the richest in society and those who are in work and have good jobs, who aren't dependent on the kindness of the state in order to get by. But it isn't. It's the opposite of that. It's pensioners and the poor.
Yeah, and he's just reinstated a triple lock. Oh, that's cynical. Oh, I wonder. Is ridiculous. We need a general election. We need to get these out. Now, I want Labour to force that motion on Monday, because even if they don't win it, at least they can then have ammunition to fire at them to say, you're still backing Boris. And hopefully it will wake enough of the country up that they'll say in 2 years' time, right, on your bike.
You really think that that's going to happen? Because I just wonder in what manner the left are going to manage to pull a disaster from the jaws of success. Because they always find a way.
We know, Nick, that there is an unofficial pact going on. And Darren Adam was so funny last night because he was just throwing it in conversation, trying to get, who did he have on? Someone from the Lib Dems. But he just happened to just breathe it into the conversation and then brush it off again as if he'd not said it. And she picked up on it straight away. There is no pact. There's a pact. There has to be a pact.
I think that the people have given up on the parties of the left getting their act together and have decided to enact a pact themselves. They have started to vote tactically, as we just saw in the last couple of by-elections. The people have given up on Labour ever getting their act together and have decided, you sit down, Keir, we'll do it. All right, thanks a lot, Simon. I've got to go, because I actually do have to go. Just a moment of, like a brief word on history. Matthew texts, Appomattox was where the Civil War started and ended, in the same property. The owner said the war started in my front parlour and ended in my back garden. The stuff you learn on this show, it's like an education, eh?
No.
Not really. Not really. Even the new education minister would give us the finger at the very thought of that idea. I'm going to be back. What a week to be filling in for Tom, eh? I'm going to be on every night, 10 to 1. Unpicking the events as they have unfolded in each day. I'm going to be back tonight at 10. Steve Allen will set you straight at 4, but first, it's Clyde Bull.
Nick, thank you. Coming up after the news, of course, who should be the next Prime Minister? We've got the front runners emerging now. Some of them are briefing against each other, and it's getting rather dirty. Do any of them actually inspire you? And also, has Labour done the right thing this week by saying they will make Brexit work? We'll look at that. We'll get reaction from Washington, catch up with other news from the White House as well. And the first images from the James Webb Space Telescope will be revealed on Tuesday. Scientists are very excited. We were 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 very excited.